Have you ever heard of the concept of prayer journaling? Well, this is kind of something that I feel like I've always done, but I haven't actually put the actual terms prayer journal to it. But I feel like this is the next appropriate step. If you are seriously being intentional about achieving your goals, you have to pray over those things. You hear me? And so one thing that I love to do, I have just like a regular journal. I'll hold this one up right here because it's the closest one to me, but this is the my new journals right now. But within here, I like to just capture down my prayers and just, I like to put a date on it, a time on it. I like to do all of that because when the Lord answers these prayers, I like to go back and look. And sometimes the Lord will answer the smallest prayer, the smallest little whisper that we didn't even realize we cried out and wrote down. So I always like to just capture it because on those days where we're feeling low, we're not feeling our best, we're feeling like, oh my God, nothing is going right for us. We can open up that journal and we can turn to the page and we can see how God did it before and how he'll do it again. I also want to introduce you to, while we're on the topic of prayer journaling, I want to introduce you to the concept of the J.O.Y method when it comes to prayers. So I heard about this concept during a Christian counseling session. J.O.Y stands for Jesus, others, and yourself. So when you are praying in your prayer journal, if you're praying out loud or if you're writing it down, like I said, I love to write my prayers down. This can help you to ensure that you are not being redundant or you're being specific, I'll say, with your prayers. You pray to Jesus first and foremost. Thank God for everything he has done for you, right? Then you pray for others. You think about whoever is on your prayer list for the day, the week, the month. And then finally, you pray for yourself. You share all your current needs with the Lord and ask Him to, cover you and give you direction and all the things. But as it relates to your goals and making sure that we are being super, super intentional, the same SMART goals that we wrote down, the same goals that we plotted in a previous video on our vision board, we want to spend extra special care and extra time praying over every single one of those, right? Asking God for direction, clear direction on the specific task that He wants us to complete under each one of those goals. Because how many of you know it's one thing to have a goal, but it's another to have a plan? Right? It's beautiful to have like this list of things that you're going to do, this finished vision board. But if you don't have specific details of how you're going to carry it out, will you actually get to the other side? Will you be successful? Right? So a part of my process is prayer. I pray and I ask God, okay, God, this big thing is what you want me to do. We've used this example of writing a book in a previous video. So if the Lord has told me He wants me to write a book on a specific topic, well, before I begin, I want to know, okay, God, like what? Okay, so um, what should those things be? Like a book, I feel like a book is just, it's a huge elephant to eat. I don't know if you ever heard that analogy before, but look, if that's a big undertaking to write a book, right? You have to think about so many things aside from like editing and all the stuff, just getting it written down. So prayer definitely helps. If God gives you the topic that He wants you to write about, then He will give you the individual chapters and then He will give you the individual sentences that make up the paragraphs, that make up the pages, that make up the chapters for every single chapter of the book. All right, so that's just one example of just why it's important to keep a prayer journal. Like I said, I can't remember if I said this or not, so I'm gonna repeat it. But I love to put the date and the time with my prayers, right? And when I go back and I look at my prayers, sometimes I'll go through and I'll highlight as God is answering them, I'll highlight. So when I'm skimming through my journal, I'll be able to quickly go and see, oh my God, I remember when God did that then. Oh my God, I'm having that same issue right now. I'm running into that opportunity or I'm facing this, mountain. What did God tell me before? Right? Or I have a friend who's encountered something similar, that's doing something similar that I've already gotten through. What was it that God told me about? What was the prayer that I prayed? And then how did God respond to me? All right. I hope that makes sense to y'all. That is how I carry out my prayer journaling. That's how I love it. There's nothing, it's like a treasure hunt. There's nothing more special then opening up an old journal and then turning, like flipping through the pages. Well, something else I do is either on the spine or on the front, I'll get like some painter's tape or something, and I'll write like the date ranges that are within the journal. So, say for instance, today we're in February now. So I'll say February 2026 to March 2026 or something like that if I've used it for a month. That way, years from now, if I need to recover something related to this journal or this season that I'm in, I can go in this journal and find what specifically was going on. I have done that. Let me tell you, I have done that recently. This season that I'm living in right now kind of feels familiar. And so I thought to myself, what other time in my life was I experiencing this same thing where I feel like right now, I'll be a little transparent with you. I feel like right now it's like a transition year, like new beginnings, new opportunities are coming along. And so I remember several years ago, having this similar feeling. And then before I knew it, like all these things started to shift. And so I went back, I've gone back several times and I pulled out this specific journal. And not only do I have prayers in there, but I also have some scripture that I was writing down. And I have some other things like things that were going on, but like I was every single morning, every single afternoon. It also showed me the rhythm that I had during that time. Life, sometimes life be life, okay? And depending on the season that we're in, we may not have as much time to dedicate to our journaling or our quiet time. And so it's always good to have this documented proof in our own writing to show, oh, hey, this is what I did. I woke up at this time, or I caught some time during lunchtime to write, or before I went to bed, I was writing, or hey, this is the book I was reading, or this is the specific scripture that got me through, that spoke to this thing. Or I'll take it even a step further. These are the individuals that were surrounding me when I was encountering this particular thing. These were the people that were in my life, and bless your heart if those same people are in your life, because guess what? You can call them up and be like, you know what? You helped me through this before, and I know you're the one that can help me through this again. So do you mind praying with me? That type of thing. So I love the concept of a prayer journal. It's very simple, very easy. And if you've already downloaded your digital Write the Vision book, within this section, you'll see where I've created pages for you to use the Joy method to pray. There's extra pages in there if you just want to praise, in general prayers or whatever is available to you. So I hope that you feel encouraged by this topic, this section, as well as the previous videos. As we continue to talk about reaching your goals, and we're not done yet. We still have a few more sections to walk through. So I'm excited, and I can't wait to see you all back here the next time. All right, so I will talk to you later. Bye.